driven by gale force winds in places that's causing problems on the roads.
All of Britain in a very cold 24 hours with a very hard frost night and day in nearly all districts.
Every film production encounters problems of one kind or another. It is up to the producers, the director, the crew and the cast to think quickly, to find solutions and then act accordingly. This is the story of the first day on the set of Dr. No. Eon Productions, headed by producers Harry Saltzman and Cubby worked throughout the winter of 1961 to prepare their first James Bond film, Dr. No. Director Terence Young finished revising the shooting script based on Ian Fleming's novel, then on January 4th left for Jamaica with Sean Connery and the production heads to prepare for the shoot. 10 days later, the rest of the cast and crew and their equipment flew to Jamaica on a chartered plane.
All the people down Kingston town, you know, all the people go jump up. Waving arms about, weaving in and out, it's so easy to jump up. Make a pretty girl, make her take a whirl, say we go and then jump up. Hold it very tight and for all the night you'll be doing the jump up. Hey, jump up, jump up, jump up.
The cast and crew landed at Palisadoes Airport, Kingston, which had opened the previous July, and were delivered to their hotels that night. The next day, the crew collected their equipment from customs, checked it, and prepared for the first day of shooting. The production office was established at the Courtly Manor Hotel, where most of the cast and crew stayed. The camera equipment was kept there overnight, watched over by a security guard. The sound crew stored their equipment at the Flamingo Hotel, where they were based. The remainder of the crew, mostly the technicians supplied by Pinewood Studios, stayed at the South Camp Hotel. The plan was to shoot all the scenes set at the airport, scenes 39 to 48, on the first day. Marguerite LeWars, the daughter of the town clerk of Kingston, who was also Miss Jamaica 1961, was called at 6 a.m. to have her hair and makeup done at the Courtly Manor Hotel. She played a photographer working for Dr. No. She was supposed to be partly Chinese, so that required extra time to do the makeup on her eyes. Reggie Carter, who played the chauffeur who picks up Bond at the airport, Mr. Jones, was called at 6:45 a.m. Carter was one of Jamaica's leading actors and had played Hamlet to great acclaim the previous November. Sean Connery was called at 7:15. Connery had played smaller roles in movies, a truck driver in Hell Drivers, a thug in The Frightened City, but had played more substantial roles on TV. He was the lead in Requiem for a Heavyweight and in Macbeth. Connery had landed a lead role as James Bond in Dr. No. It was his big break and he knew it. He had shadowed director Terence Young for months.
Terence really took me in hand and sort of knocked me into shape with his tailor and Turnbull Nasser shirts and all the gear.
And they had also discussed the character while Young played on Jamaica's golf courses. The unit call was for 7:30 a.m. at the hotels, and the crew brought trucks, equipment and the generator to the airport by 8. They unloaded, laid cables, dressed the set, arranged the lighting and set up the camera. John Kitzmiller, who played the fisherman Quarrel, arrived at the airport at 8. Kitzmiller, an American GI who stayed in Italy after the war and appeared in neo-realist films like Without Pity, was the first black actor to win an award at the Cannes Film Festival for his lead role in Valley of Peace. He was in a scene with Jack Lord, who was to play CIA agent Felix Leiter. Lord had appeared in the supporting cast of a few movies in the 1950s, but more recently had carved out a career as a guest star on TV series. However, Lord had not yet arrived in Jamaica, putting the film's schedule into jeopardy. Terence Young, arranged the movement of camera and cast for the first shot, scene 39 in the script. After waiting 25 minutes for the photographer's speed graphic camera to arrive and hastily showing Marguerite LeWars how to operate it, the first shot rolled at 10:10 a.m. The timing of the camera and action was off on the first take, so no good. The camera didn't flash on the second take, so no good. Everything was fine for take 3, so it was marked to print and they were finished with the first slate in 10 minutes. The next setup, a close-up of the photographer putting in a new bulb, was not in the script. They had time for the additional shot since Jack Lord had not yet arrived. A detail from the book, based on Ian Fleming's research, is that photographers licked the flash bulbs to get a better contact. The action was no good on the first take, the second take was good. It had taken 30 minutes to set up the lights and equipment and 5 minutes of filming. It was a nice introduction for the photographer. The crew set up just outside the airport to shoot scene 40, where Bond is approached by chauffeur Mr. Jones, Reggie Carter, and then Bond goes off to phone Plaidel Smith. They rehearsed the action with the air hostesses, the cars and the actors, then started shooting.
Taxi.
All right, then go ahead.
Help yourself.
Take 1, no good on the action.
Taxi.
Take 2, maybe okay.
Yes.
Takes 3 and 4, no good for the cars. Take 5, the positions were wrong.
Drop my luggage off at the hotel in the way.
Take 6 was good,
Hang on a
but
minute,
not
will you let me
great.
check my reservation?
Since there were no monitors on set to check the action, they did take 7 as well, and that was printed. Rather than shoot in story order, it was more time efficient to film scene 46 at the same location rather than move all the lights and camera and sound equipment. Scene 46 is where Bond gets into the limousine and asks Mr. Jones to take me for a ride. The script states that Felix Leiter is in the background looking at Bond, but Jack Lord, not arrived yet, so Young had the photographer standing in the background, her green dress in contrast to the rest of the crowd. The action was no good on take 1, there was a problem with hair on the second take, take 3 was okay, take 4 was marked to print.
For a ride?
Jack Lord landed at the airport. Producer Cubby Broccoli was furious and sent cables to Lord's agent and to David Picker at United Artists complaining about the delay. Terence Young couldn't shoot the planned scenes with Leiter and Quarrel in the parking lot because the sun was in the wrong position, so Young improvised. He immediately put Lord to work by setting up a new addition to the script, scene A39, just before scene 39, where Leiter is in the gallery looking down at the passengers coming through customs. The company broke for lunch, then they had to clear and dress the hall, set up the lights, position and rehearse the crowd and the camera move, and then wait for the sun. They did the first take at 2:55 p.m, waited for the sun and finished the second take at 3:10. The camera and lights were moved down the stairs to the main hall for setups of Bond in the phone booth. Slate 6 was scene 41, where Bond calls Government House in the telephone box. The back of the box had been removed to give access for the camera so that we can see over Bond's shoulder to see what he sees, the chauffeur and the photographer conferring. In this way we know what Bond knows, but also we see how seemingly nonchalant he is about doing his job. It took 40 minutes to do 4 takes.
Government House?
Yes?
Principal Secretary, please.
Hold the line, please.
There was a 30-minute wait for the sun, but the 4th take was good. Over the next 30 minutes, the crew cleared the set, put the side back on the telephone booth, set up lights and lined up the camera for the end of scene 40. Leiter was not in Slate 4, but he is a major character, and Young wanted him to have a constant presence in the airport sequence, so he had Leiter hover around the telephone box. It took 3 takes to get it right. Young also added Leiter into the connecting shot at the end of scene 45 as Bond leaves the telephone box. It was set up in 10 minutes and was completed in 2 takes. The glass was then taken out of the booth to shoot close-ups of Bond on the phone. But there was not enough light. The unit wrapped for the day at 5:40 p.m, just before sunset at 5:52. The production has completed 8 camera setups during the day, got 1 minute 56 seconds in the can, and were a half day behind schedule. This meant that they had to return to the airport the following day. On the second day, Young had to solve the problem of where Leiter should be. Since Leiter was no longer in scene 46, having been replaced by the photographer, Young decided to shoot Leiter at his car and getting into it as Bond leaves. Slate 9 took 5 takes before the timing of the action was synchronised. Slate 10 preceded this action. It was a medium close shot of Quarrel in the car being asked for a light by Leiter. Quarrel then nods to indicate Bond is leaving with Mr. Jones. This shot served to introduce Quarrel. The shot did not make it into the final cut. The crew moved inside the airport and erected the telephone booth, without glass in the front, for a close shot of Bond talking on the phone to Palisadoes Smith. Connery said his dialogue for scenes 41, 43 and 45, with Palisadoes Smith's lines being cued off camera by the director.
Head office alerted us this morning.
You were free for lunch today, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock your office, that'll suit me fine. By the way, have you sent a car to meet me?
Car? I didn't think you wanted it.
They got it on the 5th take, and then moved on to shoot the car chase and Bond's fight with Mr. Jones for the rest of the day. When they returned to the UK, the Palisadoes Smith close-up was shot at Pinewood, with all references to Miss Tarot removed. During post-production, editor Peter Hunt decided to put some of Palisadoes Smith's dialogue over scene 44 rather than use the close-up. Hunt also found library footage for the plane landing and the control tower. So this is how the slates were finally assembled for the movie.
Hello, New York. Your Pan Am 323 just landed Kingston, Jamaica.
With passengers, please go immediately to Terminal 4. With passengers, please go to Terminal 4. All customers and passports.
Taxi!
All right, then go ahead.
Help yourself. Taxi!
Mr. Bond, sir?
Yes?
I'm Mr. Jones, sir. Chauffeur from Government House. I've been sent to get you.
Well, that's fine, Mr. Jones. You can drop my luggage off at the hotel on the way. Now, hang on a minute, will you? I want to check my reservation.
Oh, I can do that.
No. You just take care of the bags. Government House?
Yes?
Principal Secretary, please.
Hold the line, please. Who wants him?
James Bond, Universal Exports.
Welcome to Jamaica, Mr. Bond. Yes, your head office alerted us this morning.
You were free for lunch today, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock your office, that'll suit me fine. By the way, have you sent a car to meet me?
Car? I didn't think you wanted an official reception.
Quite right. 1 o'clock then. Forgive me if I'm a few minutes late. Thank you.
Where would you like to go to first, sir?
Oh, Government House, but I'm not in a hurry. Just, take me for a ride.
As we have seen, director Terence Young had many problems to solve on set. It is no wonder that the scheduled 48 days of principal photography would stretch to 60. Yet Young had a strong grasp of the story he wanted to tell and adapted the script as necessary to match the reality he found on set. This has been the story of the first day on the set of Dr. No. For more on James Bond, the James Bond Archives is available now in XXL and trade edition formats. Links are in the information below. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, share and subscribe. See you next time.
My name is Bond, James Bond. My instructions were implicit. I was to leave for Jamaica in 2 hours. License to kill.
Now you maybe miss it.
You don't miss a thing.
I decided to accept your invitation.
I have to leave immediately.
Just as things were getting interesting again.
James Bond, 007. License to kill whom he pleases, where he pleases, when he pleases. From the elegant clubrooms of Mayfair to exotic island night spots.
Jump up, jump up.
Good evening. Who pays you?
You.
Tell us.
A strange adventure of intrigue, treachery, and love.
Hello? Oh, Mr. Bond. I was thinking, why don't you collect me at my apartment? It's lovely up here in the mountains.
Her directions were easy to follow, and she sent a few of her friends to make sure I didn't get lost. She thought I was dead, but I proceeded to prove her wrong. I thought it was always polite to knock first, before shooting. Honey, from our very first meeting, was everything her name implied. She clung to me like a wet bathing suit. But business as usual came first. The pace was killing.
I thought you less stupid. I could have had you killed in the swamp.
And why didn't you?
You damaged my organization. Unfortunately, I misjudged you. You are just a stupid policeman whose luck is run out.
Maybe it was my luck. Up to my neck in hot water. Or something blowing up in my face.
You'll live dangerously with the superbly resourceful James Bond. The explosive screen dramatization of the book that has entertained millions of readers. The exotic and tantalizing Dr. No.
Some people will go to any extremes for a little privacy.